you can just get your mind together, then come on across.
Coming up this evening on The Experience, State Senator Harriet Chandler will be with us. We'll be talking about the state budget, talking about the fact that casino gambling seems to be back on the table as well, and also about the latest trial of a House Speaker and what that means for people's trust in government. That's still on the way tonight on The Experience, but we begin with Noah Bombard of WorcesterWired. Check it out online at WorcesterWired.com. Noah, thanks for coming by.
Hey, thanks for having me again.
So, yeah, now the last time that we talked, it was sort of it was up, but it was really just sort of up and being tested out. Now WorcesterWired.com is up, it's a go and looking great. Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, we've been going for about a month and a half now. You know, just covering news in the city. There's a lot of news to be covered, even with the Telegram and Worcester Magazine, and you know, we're kind of plugging some of the holes, looking for some of the stories that aren't getting covered, looking for the angle maybe on a story that's not getting covered. We've got about 4 or 5 students who are starting with us May 16th, and will be working with us all throughout the summer, so you'll see increased coverage.
Students from the colleges, because I've already noticed that there's stories that seem to be generated from the college community. Yeah,
well, part of what we've been doing is working with some of the classes at WPI and Clark, and we'd love to expand it to other colleges in the city as well. Getting some of those students who are in writing classes to actually be writing about the city of Worcester and writing about stuff that's happening in Worcester. And the upside for them is that we will publish them, and rather than just turning in the paper to your teacher and getting a grade, we're saying, hey, you know, put a little more time in the story, cover something that's going on in the city, we'll give you a wider audience, and we find that we get some good material.
And you talked about filling in the cracks as well. Yeah. You know, obviously that the Telegram and Worcester Magazine, because they're print, where is the internet when it comes to something like WorcesterWired.com, when it comes to, although there isn't any local news generated locally from radio, but there's still talk show hosts who talk about the local issues, or here where there is a full news staff at Charter TV3. How do you fit in with the media overall?
I think, you know, there's always room for another voice, another, you know, perspective on things. WorcesterWired, since we're a nonprofit for 2 separate reasons. One is just the financial aspect. There's no, I don't own the company. It's, you know, the board of directors is myself. James Dempsey is a former Telegram and Gazette columnist who's now a professor at WPI. Lisa Berg-Powers, who you know, is involved in a number of projects in the city. So the 3 of us are kind of the governing board. Any money that the business generates goes into, you know, into the business itself. But the other reason for that is really a philosophical thing, which is that we're not here as a business entity to compete with, you know, other media organizations. We're here to provide coverage. And we've talked with a couple of other media organizations about providing coverage for their print products. You know, saying, hey, we'll write the stories, and you know.
Yeah. So how would that work? Because I mean, I was just while you were speaking until you said that last part, I'm thinking, well, they're still going to see you as being competition, because the competition often came from the ad dollars, and if you have somebody who is underwriting you, they may say to somebody else, well, we're underwriting WorcesterWired, so we don't have as many ad dollars, which makes you the competition.
Potentially, I guess, but I don't really foresee that being a problem. I mean, we're going for grant money. We are looking for corporate sponsors. If there's anybody watching that's, you know, part of a local company that wants your name associated with WorcesterWired, we have a plan in place to do that, to kind of partner up, basically, you know, allow us to do more of what we want to do and partner up with the business that way. But you know, really, you know, when we had the double homicide there a couple months ago, you know, we did a short write-up. The Telegram actually had more in-depth coverage on that one. But you know, there was a connection with Framingham, and I know the editor over at the Metro West Daily News who called me and said, "Can we use your photos?" Absolutely. Just you know, just put a credit on it.
So that's what you mean by you might be able to provide to a TV station or to
absolutely. Yeah, we could do some of the footwork. You know, it's like I say, it's a nonprofit, and the mission, our mission is to cover news in the city of Worcester. We don't have a huge staff. You know, right now it's just me, and I've got some students coming on this summer. We do hope to grow eventually, so we can hire a couple of you know, seasoned journalists who can then train some of those students.
Because right now it does seem, with you as really the head writer, or maybe the only writer in a sense right now, it does seem to be that there is sort of that one main story during the week, which obviously you're out and researching and getting up. But then there are the smaller stories as well. I mean, the website is populated by a number of stories, some of them quite fun. As a matter of fact, there's a fun story right now about ukulele playing Rich Lufstedt, but he may have a new business going in which he's building some scooters.
He's going to be scooter rich now. So.
Instead of ukulele rich.
Yeah. You know, that was a great little community piece of, you know, and we're looking for small business stories like that. Stories that have absolutely no financial benefit to us whatsoever. This is not some advertiser we're trying to get, you know, Rich is never going to advertise with us. But you know, some guy who's started up a scooter business, and Rich, of course, you know, a lot of people know from his ukulele playing. Went out to Amish country, saw the Amish riding around in these scooters made out of bicycle tires, you know, the bigger tires rather than the little scooter tires. You know, his daughter, you know, saw it, wanted one. He looked at the price tag, a little shy of $300, and said, "Well, geez, I could build." You know, I could build this for you know, $100, and so he went and built one, and he built another one. Now he's building 6, and he says, well, you know, I could start a company doing this, and you know, whether or not he'll be you know, a mega scooter manufacturer 5 years from now, I think is probably unlikely. But you know, it's part of Worcester. It's somebody in Worcester who's doing something interesting, and you know, he's riding around on the Common with him on Friday, and people are stopping him, asking about him. So
now, so that's one type of story. You sort of shift gears. It's sort of like the Hank Stolz experience. I think you have all different kinds of stories, right? But you have serious stories as well. Give us an example of, if we go to the website this week, the kind of reporting that you're doing.
Well, right now, the story that's up there right now is a look at our fairly new public health commissioner, Dr. McGee, who has really kind of taken the public health department in a new, not a new direction per se, but a new glance. He's trying to basically change it so that all of these reporting agencies, hospitals and stuff, are all reporting data directly to the Worcester Department of Public Health, which you would think would make sense, except a lot of times this data has been going to the Massachusetts Department of Public Health. Worcester would then get it secondhand 2 years later. And it's really about, for him, trying to solve some of the city's problems. We looked this week at the mortality rate amongst the Hispanic population, you know, infant mortality rate, and you know, how it's doubled in 4 years. And he looks at that data and says, well, this is alarming, and then tries to pull other data and say, okay, let's get to the root of the problem so that we can offer solutions to people. And I think that's pretty interesting story to me, in the sense of, here's somebody in city government who's doing something to try to improve the lives of people in the city, and you know, putting a spotlight on
And you also, of course, have all of the local bands and everyone who's playing out. Now, how do you gather that information? Bee's Knees record release party is the one that I saw just recently that's up there.
Lots of footwork. I mean, there's lots of places around Worcester that have the listing. Obviously, social web is huge, but doesn't have everything. You know, so we're trying to hunt down what's going on in the city, what's kind of interesting. And just, again, put a spotlight on it. We think, you know, it's part of our philosophy at WorcesterWired, is that all of us on the board feel that there are so many great things going on in the city. And, you know, part of what we want to do is put a spotlight on that. You know, if it's some really neat thing going on at a local museum that people should know about, or somebody with an interesting story, or a band that's playing somewhere, is to really try to draw attention to that. And, you know, we're doing a little bit of that now. Of course, we've got wide eyes. We'd like to do a lot more of it.
Sure. Well, I think the website looks great. How do people find out about it, though? I mean, this to me would really, I mean, this is the toughest part of it, because you don't have that print part that kind of drives people to the web. So even though I was looking at the circulation figures for the T&G, where they had an uptick of, I think, 6 or 7% recently. But when you took a look at the number of people who they say are reading them on the website, huge. It dwarfs the number of people now who are picking them up and reading them in the print edition. But they're able to tell people about the website through the print edition. You don't have that.
No, we don't. And one of the things that we did with WorcesterWired is we really took advantage of the social media. And that's, in fact, I don't even tell people so much to go to WorcesterWired.com as I say, go to Facebook.com/WorcesterWired. Go to Twitter.com/WorcesterWired. That's where we're communicating with people the most. That's where we're reaching out to people. That's where you'll find the stories that we're doing. We're not a daily, I mean, we do post stories. We try to post daily. Right now we're kind of at a middle between, you know, classes getting out, so our student help is kind of gone for a couple weeks, so it's kind of every other day or so. But that's the way to stay in touch with it, and that's the way to also communicate. It's not even, it's, you know, that's the wonderful thing about social media. It's not just broadcasting. You're not just sending stories out there. You're hearing from people, you're communicating with people, and we've gotten some story ideas from people saying, hey, check this out.
In that way, is it more akin, or is your competition more, you know, the Patch.com sites or the Daily Holden or the Daily Grafton?
Yeah, I don't know. Patch isn't in the city yet, and I don't think they have a strong push to get into cities. I've never, even when I worked for commercial, you know, enterprises, I've never really viewed the competition as competition. You are the competition. Yourself is the competition. If you can beat yourself, do a better story next time, you know, people will read it. And that is our goal, is we want to do good journalism, and we want people to read it.
Well said. Noah Bombard, thanks for coming by and telling us about it.
Thanks a lot.
And obviously growing by leaps and bounds as well. So not only should people go to the website, but check you out on Facebook as well.
And Twitter, absolutely. That's a good way to stay in touch with us, and our web traffic's growing every day.
That's great. Noah, thanks for coming by.
Thanks a lot.
And coming up, we'll be speaking with Senator Harriet Chandler right